relationships, and everything in between. Get ready to unlock a world of knowledge and discover new dimensions of pleasure. Pleasure Pulse premieres October 3rd from 8 to 9 p.m. exclusively on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM.
From the heart of ZIZ Radio comes a political talk show like no other. The Edge, with host Devon Cornelius giving you his take on the biggest stories happening in governance today. Got something to say? Let's hear it. Give us a call at 869-465-2555, Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. One solid hour of in-depth analysis of the machinery that makes our country tick. The Edge, premiering October 2nd on ZIZ Radio. The Edge, cutting into the matters at hand.
Equal rights for all, everywhere. Say what you think, what you think, what you think, what you think about justice. What you know, what you know, what you know, what you know about love. Why all the segregation, all are but one nation. Oh, let us unite as one. About love, tell me what you know about hate that keeps us separated. Tell me what you think about equal rights for all in every way. Say what you think, what you think, what you think, what you think about justice. What you know, what you know, what you know, what you know about love. Why all the segregation? We all are but one nation. Oh, let us unite as one. Let us unite as one. Oh, love. So many can testify. Love, oh, love. But you still can't satisfy. You keep on praying. You wish that day would come when there'll be equal rights and justice for every man. Say what you think, what you think, what you think, what they sacrifice now. Tell me what you think about equal rights for all, everywhere. Say what you think, what you think, what you think, what you think about justice. What you know, what you know, what you know.
Pleasant good morning to everybody, and welcome to another featured program of Policing with You. We have in the studio with us a representative of the Caribbean Credit Card Corporation 4Cs, Miss Odessa Huggins. Welcome, Miss Huggins.
Morning, Inspector Francis.
Superintendent now. Superintendent.
Sorry.
And the last occasion me and Miss Huggins was here, I was an inspector, so I understand. Okay, Miss Huggins, we're going to jump straight into the program. We're here today to sensitize the general public pertaining to cards and different things, issues that can arise with using your cards and how to combat not becoming a target. Okay? Ms. Odessa, tell us a little about your job as a fraud analyst and what do you do?
Okay, good morning everyone. My name is Odessa Huggins. I work at the Caribbean Credit Card Corporation Limited, also known as 4Cs. This is a company that a financial card services provider which manages cardholder portfolio and merchant transaction processing for financial institutions within the OECS and the Caribbean. As a fraud analyst in that institution, some of my duties are to assess fraud mitigation solutions, monitor unusual merchant and cardholder activity, analyze and identify fraud trends, implementation and maintenance of fraud rules, investigate and provide assistance to various client inquiries, and provide reports to client banks on cardholder merchant activity.
That's a lot of things you do there. And when you indicate all of those things touch and concern the safety of the card, basically.
Yes, safety of the card holders' data and information.
Okay, today we're talking about threats targeting card holders and institutions. Let's begin with card holders. What are some of the threats targeting card holders?
Okay, we can start out first with skimming.
Skimming.
Yes. Skimming is a method used by criminals. The actual intent is to steal cardholders' data, so they can in the future use them as a counterfeit card. Therefore, your cardholder information will be stolen. The information is actually stolen from the mag stripe on the back of the card, which has the cardholder's personal information. Then they would use this information to create a counterfeit card, and this card can be used and the person's money can be wiped out like that. These skimmers can be attached to point-of-sale terminals. They can even be attached to ATMs, and no one would know differently unless you may be an expert and you recognize something. But they can even be stolen from. Sometimes people carry their cards in their pockets. They're not really protected, and a skimmer may have a fraudster may have a device that can be used to just swipe the information from the card. Right? But this can only happen for the mag stripe, magnetic strip on the card. We have since moved on to EMV card. These are the cards with the chip that is installed on them. The reason why the fraudsters would steal the data from the magnetic strip is because the information on the chip is no use to them. Even if they steal it, they cannot use it. So they would move forward into using the information off of the magnetic strip.
Okay. So when you say point of sale, what do you mean?
The point of sale terminals that you dip and swipe your card at the merchant
you mean
location.
like when you go to the supermarket and you just...
Yes.
Okay. And you indicated that persons with the cards with the strip, other persons can steal that information. How can they protect? If most of us have the cards with the strip.
Yes, everybody has a card with the strip.
Okay, beautiful. So how can someone protect their card?
Like I said, it's something that the card holders may not be able to fight. It's on the merchant side to be aware of these kind of stuff. But on the other end too, the card holder must be aware of the surroundings. Anything that looks unusual, they should be, reporting any unusual activity that they may see.
And who can they report it to?
Their bank.
The bank. So they go to an ATM machine and they're about to push in their card, about to punch their numbers, and they realize something looks
Yeah,
off.
they could go straight to the bank and tell them that they're using the ATM and something looks off, because what they do sometimes is they replace the card reader and it looks identical to the reader. So when you insert your card, it takes all the information off of the card.
And one last thing before we move on to the rest questions. You did indicate the card with the chip, the EMV card. Is that a safer card?
Yes, that's the most secure card. We have moved from the magnetic strip alone to the EMV strip with the chip on it. That chip has in data that they cannot replicate. So that is where the security is a bit higher. And we use contactless as where you just wave the card. That also use the chip data. Okay, so normally, unless the merchant's terminal cannot read the chip, then it may fall back to the mag stripe, right? But
Oh yeah, because some of the machines they will say, oh, they can't they can't just wave it. They have to push it in and punch in numbers.
yeah, because maybe that machine doesn't have contactless ability.
Wow, this is interesting.
Yeah.
How can these threats be avoided?
Well, let me continue because we have some other
sure,
ones.
of
here.
course.
Shoulder surfing.
Shoulder surfing.
Yeah, this is where you may be in an environment, you may be using your card, or maybe some persons now are using their cards even on their devices. They have, and you may enter your password or whatever.
Like Amazon.
And then there's somebody close to you looking over your shoulder and you don't even know.
Oh, that's shoulder surfing.
Yeah.
You might be in the public doing something and somebody just peeping. Oh.
And they can get your credentials just as easy as that.
Okay.
We also have fictitious merchant promotions where you may go online and you see these pop-up things telling you, oh, if you involve yourself in an activity, you may get a green card, lottery or something. You want.
Yes. A US green card.
Yeah. And even the vacation winnings, you're going to win the vacation. Just press this link and they ask you to put in your card, and then your information can be stolen. Just
So
like
most
that.
of those are tricks.
Most of them. I mean,
Wow.
anybody asking you for your cards, you always got to look out for the too good to be true
Oh, okay.
kind of scenario.
Okay.
Right? You even have educational enhancement offers. Really, this is not fraud, because now the card holder will be actually using their card, but it turns out to be a scam.
Could you explain that again?
There is the
For example?
educational enhancements where you may get some discount. You want to do an area of study, a course or whatever, but they're telling you it's either free or it's some large discount. And you got caught up because then you're using your card for payment.
Like you're doing a master's degree in 6 months.
Yeah.
And then they ask me a card payment.
And it's a scam.
Wow.
So you look out for stuff like these. I mean, there are stuff out there that are legit, but you must try and research information before you.
So before you use the card, do some research.
You research.
Don't just jump up and use the card.
Research.
Okay. How can these threats be avoided?
Okay, like I said before, be aware of your physical surroundings. Avoid using isolated ATMs. If you have an area where the ATM is in a dark area, you try to use an ATM in another area where it's more lighted and maybe more persons are around. Keeping your card in view during a transaction. For instance, you go to a supermarket, you ensure some merchants may actually take your card from you. Because maybe how the point of sale is located on the counter, but some of them will tell you to insert the card yourself. But in those cases, you still ensure that you keep the card in your site, because we have dishonest persons. So even some of the employees at the merchant locations, they're dishonest, right? So you don't take people for granted.
So in other words, if somebody going to say, okay, we have to go in the back room to swipe your card and come back.
Yeah, that could be a red flag. 'Cause they
That
can
could
do
be a red
anything.
flag.
They can take a picture of your card, the card number, the expiry date, this 3-digit to the back, and then you find you're getting transactions online on Amazon, and you didn't process these transactions yourself.
So what if something like that happened? What do you tell somebody?
Once a person has fraud, they dispute the transaction with their bank.
No, not the fraud. If you go into an area and they say, oh, we have to take your card, you have to go to the back room
You tell
to
them
swipe your card.
you're not comfortable with it.
Okay. Straight up.
Simple. You're not
Straight up.
comfortable with you taking my card.
And just going somewhere and coming back.
Yeah.
Okay. Listeners, viewers, thanks for that.
Yeah.
All right.
And concealing, another mitigation effort is to conceal your PIN entry in public places. Again, you would see the ATMs, they would have these, the keypad has something on this side that is covering so that anybody can look and see what you're punching in. So you ensure that nobody is seeing what you're entering. Yeah.
Okay.
Because your PIN is your personal identification number, nobody is supposed to have it. I cannot.
And that's what PIN stand for. Personal identification number. PIN.
Yeah. For instance, if I receive fraud on my car and it's via an ATM, and I go to my bank and said that I did not withdraw this transaction from my account, and the first thing you look, it's an ATM transaction, the card holder automatically loses that case.
Loses?
Yep. Because the PIN is your PIN. Nobody's supposed to, even if it's stolen, you're not supposed to allow anybody to have access to your PIN. When you get the PIN mailers, really you're supposed to just keep it in mind and destroy the PIN, the paper.
Commit
Throw
it
it
to
away.
memory.
Yes.
Okay.
If you forget your PIN, then you go back to your bank and they will PIN or they give you a new card, whatever the case may be. But no one is supposed to know your PIN. That is your number.
So the PIN, if it's a long number or a short number?
No, normally it's not long. It's normally, most I've seen it is 4 digits. I don't think it goes any longer.
So commit the 4 digits to memory.
Yes.
Don't write it down.
No.
A lot of people keep it written down
Some
somewhere.
people keep it in their card, in their wallets, and the card is there and the PIN is there, and then your wallet is stolen and
Everybody has
all is
access to everything.
Yeah. So, and also being wary of offers that sound too good to be true, which require the card holder to take prompt and immediate action. They will tell you, you have this amount of time to order this or whatever, and after that the prices change, and they try to entice people by making it sound urgent and immediate. So you be careful of those kind of scams. Being careful not provide card details for offers which claim to be free, like I mentioned before. Okay.
You can take, for instance, I've heard of cases where person will send you a WhatsApp and then they would indicate that you win a lottery, or you win this or you win that, and then somewhere down the line you have to claim your money, but send us this money, or send us that,
I've heard
send us your card number, blah blah blah, because you have to pay a deposit to get the money.
To get the money, and that nonsense.
I like that. And that nonsense.
It's nonsense.
Too good to be true.
Yeah, but sometimes people are desperate as well, so that's normally what would be, because they're desperate and they don't see.
Okay, can we're gonna take one more question before we take a break for one more question, Q. One more question before we take a break for word from our sponsors. What are the threats targeting institutions?
Okay, we can talk about account testing and enumeration. These are where the fraudsters actually have softwares in their possession, and it's computerized, so they practically just spit out numbers. They may get access to a bin. A bin is the first 6 digits on your card, and that would identify the institution that that card was issued from. So they got a hold of that bin. They just spit out numbers in seconds, and where they may realize that they got a positive response for one of these cards, because they don't know it. You would find a lot of declines. You get a lot of declines, but there are times you'll find in between you get approvals. So they spit out these numbers, and once they get approvals, then they start testing the card to ensure. They already realize it was good. They're testing to ensure that money is on it, and then they may.
How did they test it?
Huh?
Hello? How they find the pen?
How they find it? They just think.
So we have softwares and algorithms that just run these numbers
they run them
and test, and
but they would know the bins, because you can get a bin easily, because you would know the institution, the card numbers. I can go and apply for a card right away. I'll know what the bin is, right? So they can get this information, and they just use a software, and they spit out thousands of transactions within split second, right? And once they get a positive response, they use those cards to test small dollar amounts to ensure that, okay, the card is really good. And then they may monetize with bigger amounts, or they can even sell these card numbers on the black market.
All this happening right now.
Yes.
Wow. Are there
On a
any other
daily
threats?
basis. Right? And then you have data security breach. This is where information was breached because of, for instance, I could be working in an institution and I get one of those same emails telling me to press a link to do whatever thing, and I go on and press that link, and then they put a malware or some kind of.
So you're working in an institute, a business place, and an email come in to your personal email or the business
The
email?
business email.
So email come in to the business email, say press this link something, and when you press the link, you automatically download information into the company's system that
fraudsters have access to. They now have access to your systems.
wow.
Right? And they can get cardholder data if cardholder data is stored there. And then next thing you have this massive fraud. I'm sure you've heard of Target in the past. We have those kind of big institutions that would have gotten breached. And these are the stuff that could happen.
Okay. Any more you care to mention before we take a break?
No, those are the other two I have.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So, businesses need to be aware and take their personal security serious,
Yes.
and make sure that they have good security
And
stuff,
training.
training and computer stuff to make sure that this doesn't happen to them.
Yes.
Okay, GQ, can we get a break? Word from our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll have some calls.
The Cable is 40 years young. And to celebrate, we will gift 40 loyal customers a chance to win up to $1,000 in September. We're giving away cash every week this September to 40 loyal customers who've been with us for up to 10, 20, 30, and yes, up to 40 years. So, how long have you been with the Cable? Let's count the years. You just might be one of our 40 lucky cash winners this month. The Cable, turning 40 and giving back more where it matters. Terms and conditions apply.
The specials at Domino's are hot, hot, hot for any occasion. Hot right out of the oven. One medium, 2 topping pizza, and 2 20-ounce Cokes, only $35. Free Coke with your lunch until 2 p.m. Small, 1 topping school child lunch special, only $14. 2 medium, 2 topping pizzas, and a 2-liter soda, only $69. 2 large, 2 topping pizzas, and a 2-liter soda, only $92. Oh, and the big one, baby. Free large pizza every Tuesday with your favorite 2 for Tuesday special. So, come on down or call and order now and experience our tasty oven-baked goodness. Domino's, the home of satisfaction.
Hot and wild, call Domino's now.
Enjoy your summer with the Bank of Nevis Limited. It's that time, and the bank has the perfect summer loan package for you. Take a vacation, enjoy a staycation, advance yourself academically, or prepare your children for back to school. It's your choice with up to $30,000 unsecured loan with an attractive low interest rate. Additionally, up to 5 years to repay. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Offer ends September 30th, 2023. Bond strong.
Win your share of 40K in cash and prizes this 40th Independence. Yes, you heard right. Win cash, free groceries, and more. Here's how to qualify. Switch to Digicel. Activate a 3-day Prime bundle or higher. Or pay your postpaid bill in full for your chance to win your share of 40K. Visit a retail store today or activate via the My Digicel app. Digicel. Better together this independent. Promotion ends September 30th.
Oh, yo, 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 yo.
to feature a program of Policing with You. We have in the studio a representative from the 4Cs, fraud analyst, Miss Huggins. Okay, our lines are now open for any calls. If you so desire to call in, make any comment, ask any questions pertaining to cards and card holders and fraud concerning cards. We have the specialists here to assist in your questions. GQ, if any questions, any calls, just let me know. Okay, similar to what I asked. There's a call. Beautiful. Pleasant good morning, you're on the air.
Hello, good morning, Superintendent James. How are you?
I'm alright, sir.
And good morning to your guests. Yeah, I'm here listening to the program, and this program is very educational, very timely. And it's amazing how sometimes we get caught up in using our cards and not being aware of these things. Simple thing as be careful in relation to putting in your PIN number. I think that one is something a lot of us need to be aware of, because sometimes we just religiously put in our PIN number, not realizing that someone is close by and looking at what you are doing. So that one for me stand out. And the one that amazed me much is these fraudsters. They will email you and tell you win $2 million. But I always say, if I win $2 million, I didn't play the lotto or whatever you say you're advertising. So why not you take out all your money that you say and then just send the rest to me?
Exactly.
Why should I should give you my information? First of all, I didn't. But then again, she's so correct, because persons who get caught up is they are desperate. And when you're desperate, you do desperate things. Because if you didn't pay the lotto, but you win $2 million, $2 million US. Take out all the taxes. I don't care how much you take out. Just send me 500,000. That's all. I ain't giving you no information. You say I win the money, send the rest to me. But I'm not giving you any information. But these persons are very, very intelligent. They are very smart. They season maybe persons who they think is vulnerable based on the response, and then they go from there. So persons have to be very particular, because once they get your information, that's it for you. But I like the program. I like the information given by the lady here. It's very important. It's very timely, and I hope a lot of persons are listening.
Right,
have a good day. Thank you very much.
Okay. Ms. Huggins, similar to what I asked regarding card holders, if an institution is affected by such an event, is there any way to mitigate the consequences?
Well, at 4Cs, because we process transactions for member banks, for instance, in the Federation, we work closely with SKNA, National Bank, and Bank of Nevis. So any of those institutions who have card holders who have been affected by fraud, we are able to create fraud rules to monitor the transaction activity on these cards. And while building fraud rules, as I would have mentioned, we have to assess and analyze the fraud trends, right? Because they're not always the same. So we build rules against what is presently happening. These fraud rules, they're not stagnant, so they can change. So once we build a rule, we build it to mitigate the current fraud that is happening.
For those banks or for across the board?
Well, if we do rules across the board and we do specific banks accordingly. So sometimes what happens is that once we identify a fraud trend across the board, we would create a rule, but we would have to get permission from these banks to implement. Okay, because the rules, although they mitigate the fraud, they also would stop legitimate transactions. So we have to balance it.
Okay. All right, thanks. Have another call? Okay, Pleasant, good morning. You're on the air.
Hello, good morning, Superintendent Francis.
Morning, sir.
You're a good friend of my brother, Jamdown. And I think you related to us, but I can't prove it like this. But what the lady's saying, what she was saying, is exactly right, because right here in New York, New York banks have their own booth, and you can go in with your card, open the door, go in with your card, and take the money out. And the bank advises you to use the bank ATM only, because your cards have certain security codes in them that only the bank know. But they have scammers that put stuff in the ATM machine, and they copy maybe 50, 60 numbers, information, and then they leave and go to another place and do it. Because one time I was home visiting in St. Kitts, and I was over in Frigate Bay, and I was using my card often. and my bank in New York flagged me, call my number and tell me, Mr. Griffin, somebody is using the card fast. Is that you? I said, yes. Then they told me, give me information concerning your mother's last name and all the information. Then we could verify you. And I did. And they tell me, we have a flag on all our cards that people could try to scam them. And they got a built-in code that only me know on my card to get money. So what the lady is saying, she's exactly right. That's the same thing going on in New York City. Even merchants will steal your PIN, your card number, and sell them on the black market. So you have to be very, very careful. And she's right. Everything she said is the same thing happening in America, in New York. All right, guys. Good luck to you and the Federation.
Thank you for the call. Okay, you did indicate that some rules that are created, sometimes the person themselves get.
No, what I'm saying is that, okay, so we create a rule to mitigate that a fraud trend that we're currently seeing. But we have to ensure that those rules are built to decline mostly those transactions. Because there are times I may process a transaction as a card holder, and because my transaction met the criteria that is built within the rule, my transaction would be stopped. So I'm saying we have to ensure that the rules are balanced to ensure that they mostly decline the fraudulent transactions. They're not 100%, but they ensure we ensure that the false positive is favorable.
Okay. Thank you. Another call. Okay, Pleasant, good morning. You're on the air. Policing with you.
Yes, Mr. Francis. Question, does the police have a specific line for cyber, where you could call and report cyber crimes, and if so, can you let the general public know? And for the lady, just a suggestion, maybe institution might could have the monies in a separate account, and person will just transfer to the card according to what they want to do. It might be safer that way. Just a suggestion.
Yes, that's actually a good idea, and actually we at 4Cs, we normally, because our relationship is with the banks, these are some of the suggestions that we give the banks to ensure. We normally ask them to have their card holders have a separate account, because especially for the debit cards, once your debit card is accessed by a fraudster and that card is linked to your savings account, they can wipe out everything. So we have been over the time asking the banks to ensure or encourage the card holders to have a separate account for their debit card, and when there's need to use the card, they can transfer funds. Right?
Okay.
So that would be, like the caller said, that's a good idea, but some card holders don't want to do it for whatever reason. But it is actually a good idea and the safest way for them, because once that fraudster recognizes that they can process transactions, they will do it until the card is wiped out.
Okay. All right. Thanks for the call.
Okay.
You know, I'm smiling because the last time we were here, it was last year, said?
It was last year. Yeah.
And I was
last year.
I was so surprised. You know, that same section that the caller mentioned, and you iterating now, to have a separate account to, you know, your card. I was like, that's interesting. And you know, I went and did that.
You did it?
Yeah, I did. I went and so I have two accounts. One I have most of the money, but one is tied to the card.
Yeah, so you transfer.
I just transfer. Just go online and transfer. Use the card. So I don't have a lot of money on the card itself. You know, it's like, wow, that's interesting. Never thought of that.
Yeah, because I've seen cases where you see and they recognize that thing and they just wipe, and then next thing you start seeing insufficient funds because the money has been wiped out now.
And additionally, you could correct me, but additionally, I think banking institutes would encourage you when you're leaving the Federation or leaving your island.
Yes, that's
to go like Miami or wherever shopping. To let them know that you're not going to be here, you're going to be there.
Yeah.
So whenever they see any transactions, they would know it's likely to be you, to notify you or whatever.
They would notify, and one of the reasons is that because we have fraud rules in place as well. Sometimes there's two things. The card holders normally do not want to be affected by the rules.
Correct.
Because now they might be doing transaction outside their normal activity, and for some reason the rule criteria might trigger, and then your transaction is stopped and you're in New York shopping.
Yes.
And your so they would they would indicate to their bank. The bank would get information to us, and there are two things what we can do, because we can either open the parameters on their card to allow them to process
a limit.
Yeah, and we can provide exemptions for the area that they're going to be shopping, so that they won't be declined.
So it's about communication. You have to communicate with your bank, let them know what's going on, so they could adjust the rules to make sure nobody uses it.
And the card holders can also call, because 4Cs is 24/7, so they can also call if they're outside of the federation and they're encountering issues. They can also call 4Cs 24/7 for assistance.
You need a number you want to mention?
It's 465-3700.
3700. 24 hours?
Yes.
Wow. You guys are like police officers on duty 24 hours. Okay, for the first question the caller asked pertaining to crime, cyber crime, let us call the Bassey Police Station 465-2241. Say they want to report a cyber crime, and they'll transfer you to the relevant department who will take your report. Okay, any more calls, GQ? Not at the moment. Okay. Yes, Ms. Huggins.
So we were at the implementation of the fraud monitoring rules. We also have an implementation of robust data security.
Sorry, Q?
We do have a call now.
Do have a call. Okay. Let's have the call. President, good morning. You're on the air.
Mr. Francis Megan.
Yes, sir.
Seemingly we are brothers.
That's okay.
Because I have that same situation. I have two accounts. One separate that I use my card, especially when I'm traveling. And I just recently did the same thing. I informed the institution that I was going to be traveling to the United States. So they could have been aware that I was in the States and it's me who using the card. And the lady is so correct, because it's better to at least lose 2,000 than to lose 20,000. You understand? So it's better to separate the accounts. So just in case, because you never know what can happen. But the advice is perfect, and a lot of persons need to take that advice rather than wait. By the time it's too late, there's nothing the institution can do. So I just had to laugh when I heard you say this. Okay, have a good day.
It's a problem.
Okay, so we're on to the implementation of robust data security policies and procedures. So these include internal policies within your institution to ensure that your institution is safe. Training of your staff to be able to identify, inconsistent behavior, unusual stuff that you're seeing and all that, right? And then we have to be, as a payment network institution, we have to be compliant with something called PCI DSS, which is called the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standards. We have to be compliant with that on a yearly basis, otherwise we can be blacklisted. But because we store data and all of that, we must be compliant with these standards. So this is all to ensure card data security, right?
Thank you very much.
I have a question coming in from the social media end. Yes. The person says, great advice about contacting the bank. Should they contact 4Cs as well? They had an incident last year when they were overseas and their card was blocked.
Once what will happen with the card block if you're overseas and your card is blocked? The card is blocked because a rule may have triggered. The normal process for the fraud staff that are working their shift is, if a transaction is declined by a rule, you attempt to reach a card holder. Okay, and once you reach that card holder, then you can verify with the card holder whether the transaction was legitimate or not. If they say it's not legitimate, we block and replace. If the transaction
block the card and replace it.
Yes. If the card is not is legitimate, then we can find out from the card holder if they want to continue to do that transaction, and we create an exemption to allow them to do the transaction.
Okay. I hope that answered the question.
Well, I hope so too.
Okay. Any more questions? Any more calls?
Not at the moment.
Okay. Any closing comments, Ms. Huggins?
Well, all I will say is that, I would encourage all card holders to ensure that they keep their card safe. I would tell people your card is as important as your money, your raw cash that you would try to safeguard. The card is just as important. Although the card has security features built in, there are certain things that still you cannot do anything about. For instance, the card has security features on it, but someone can steal your card. Right? If they steal it and they have all of the security information included, the 3-digit to the back of the card, it means that they can use your card online. So safeguard your cards and ensure that your money remains safe.
All right, final question for me before. I know that was your closing statement, Ms. Huggins, but I do apologize.
That's okay.
This person is indicating that every weekend they have an issue with their card and it's being blocked. They're asking what are the recourse
every weekend.
Yeah, on the weekend.
Okay.
And how should they deal with that? Should they contact 4Cs? Should they contact the bank? What's the recourse?
I would say at first to contact the issuing bank to ensure that what the procedures that the bank has in place are being adhered to, because if your card is blocked, it means that a rule is triggering. And when they say block, they may mean block, but it could be a transaction is being declined. I'm not sure if the card is actually physically blocked or a transaction was declined by a fraud rule. So they would further have to specify as well. But a transaction is stopped by a rule and it could be physically blocked because maybe the card holder wasn't be able to reach at the time or whatever the case. But I would say to that card holder to reach out to their bank to find out what the actual issue is.
Okay.
All right, this says thanks.
Okay, and there's the RFID. Sorry, go ahead, Q.
I do apologize. You're seeking clarification if it was blocked or the transaction.
Yes.
They said the card was blocked.
It was blocked.
Yeah.
So it could be a case where it was an attempt to reach a card holder and they weren't able to be reached.
So they just block it for safety.
Yes.
So in a case like that, from my end now, question from me, in terms of your information need to be updated. I change my phone number, the bank doesn't have that information. If I contact the bank and update that information, would 4Cs be updated automatically as well, or do I have to reach out?
For the credit cards, they would be updated, and for those institutions that we monitor their debit cards and we have those information, we should be able to see it.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, beautiful. Just one last thing. I know you gave your closing comments, but just something. RFID blocking sleeves.
What's that? Where you saw that?
No, there's this small thing that sometimes they encourage you to hold the card in that, so people who come around in America to steal the information digitally, they won't be able to do that.
I've never seen that.
Okay, well maybe that's something different. Okay, from me, closing comments. I wanna thank Ms. Huggins very much for coming out and sensitizing me, you, the general public, on such a wonderful topic. I do encourage persons to listen it over and listen to exactly what Ms. Huggins is saying and take it on board. And I want to thank you very much again for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and enlighten us, the general public. Thank you, the listeners and viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for being with us. See you when I see you.
Tell me what you think about equal rights for all.